Update. I discovered that my boyfriend is cheating after buying him an expensive Christmas gift. Original post. I, female 25, discovered that my ex-boyfriend, male 26, had been cheating on me for 5 months. I was really devastated and felt a lot of rage inside me, especially after buying him a new PlayStation 5, since he wanted one but couldn't afford it. I was saving up a lot of money to buy him the console with some games. We've been dating for 3 years and living together for 1.5 years. I immediately kicked him out after his side girl messaged me apologizing, not knowing that he had a girlfriend. I didn't believe her because I trusted my boyfriend a lot, but she came with the receipts. There were a lot of messages where he flirted with her and sent spicy photos. I was disgusted, really disgusted. The worst part is when I confronted him, he didn't even try to deny it and called me boring. He insulted me a lot, saying I was no fun and deserves better. I was really enraged, and for the first time, I slapped him. He was shocked, so was I, because I was never violent with him and always tried to solve things quietly, but it made my blood boil. I started screaming at him that he doesn't do anything around here and never paid rent, because he's a lazy, jobless piece of trash who can't even bother looking for a decent job. And at one point, mentioned how he will never get the PS5 that I bought and will return it soon to the store. He looked like a deer in headlights. That bastard, he immediately changed his attitude and acted sorry, started apologizing and crying, saying he never meant to cheat and promised he would make it up to me. He's a disgusting pig. He never cared for my feelings. He only cared when I mentioned something he wanted. Such hypocrisy. I wasted no time and kicked him out. He's still sending me a lot of texts filled with apologies, and even an ugly photo of him crying. I told him to not waste his time because he won't get the PS5. We're done. Then I blocked him. I won't take the PS5. I already have one. But I remember that my parents were planning on buying it for my little brother. The plan was going to be them buying the PS5, and I will buy the games for it with an extra PS Store gift card. But looks like I will give my parents a call and tell them there's a change in our plans for my brother's gift. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Let me guess. When you previously asked him to get a job and contribute to the household, he called you a gold digger. Good for you for not taking his gaslighting and BS any longer. I'm sure you've figured out by now that he was never going to contribute and intended to use you for a free ride while he had his fun. You are so well rid of him. Best Christmas gift you could give yourself. He actually called me controlling. We fought a lot about it, but this was my first time showing a serious reaction to it. Ah yes, because the classic controlling partner's move is to get them out of the house, financially independent and meeting new people. It's definitely not controlling to move into your partner's house and demand they support you though. Of course not. Good on you for not falling for his BS. Had you kept him and given him the PS5, he would likely continue to love bomb as a thank you for the game system. However, once he feels you are comfortable again, he'd have just gone back to his old cheating ways and not do a thing to help you and then gaslight you, blaming you for being boring and whatever else he can come up with to make you feel bad. Thankfully, everything happened before it was too late. Your little brother is gonna be so excited though. Yup. Make some photos of your brother while he enjoys playing the PS5 and rub it under that piece of crap's nose. Make him cry a bit more. I'm happy for you that you got rid of that loser. You deserve much better, and for the next one, stand up for yourself. I would, but sadly my parents won't agree to reveal my brother to the internet. They have a point, because what people can do with technology and AI these days is scary. Now for the update. Hello everyone, I'm back with an update. First, I wanted to thank all of the people who commented and shared some of their experiences with me. I really appreciate it. Today was amazing. I celebrated Christmas with my family, my parents, and a little brother. My parents cooked the best food, so I ate well after not having an appetite for a few days. It was wonderful. As for my parents' agreement about the gift, we agreed on something. I'll give the PS5 and games to my brother. My parents bought an Oculus for my brother's new PS5 and other accessories for the console. When the time came for the presents, I was shocked to learn that my brother got me an expensive gift. He got me some makeup from Sephora and a gift card. My parents then informed me that my brother was saving for my gift since the beginning of the year. I cried. I literally started bawling my eyes out and I gave him a big hug. My baby. I thanked him a lot for the gift and said that I loved it. When he opened my parents' present, he was really confused and stated that he doesn't have a PS5 for this Oculus. I told him to open my gift, and when he opened it, he started crying and immediately hugged me. I don't know what came over me, and I started crying with him. I really love my brother. He's a sweet little boy and a good-behaved kid. He's 12, by the way. That's why he deserved every gift he got. It was expensive, yes, but it was worth every penny to see him happy. After we all opened our gifts, I helped him set up the PS5 in his room and played some games together. Suddenly, he tells me that he loves me and I'm the best big sister in the world. For the third time, I started crying, probably because I'm on my period and my hormones are not making it any better. So yeah, there you have it. I had the best Christmas with my family, and seeing my brother so happy was worth the heartbreak I went through. As for my garbage ex, he's still making new accounts on Instagram to apologize. I told him to buzz off, and I know that he's only apologizing because he wants the PS5, not because he's feeling guilty. I mentioned that I gave it to someone who deserves it way more than he does, and he started cursing at me, and I said if he didn't leave me alone, I'll report him to the police for harassment. He stopped after that, and I never heard from him ever since. So that's all for the update. Happy holidays, everyone. This is the most wholesome post I have read in a while. I'm glad that you decided to make your brother happy by gifting him PS5. You sound like a lovely person and I wish you all the happiness. Merry Christmas! I read the first one and was so happy she told him she got him the PS5 but he wouldn't get it. As someone with an ex like hers, it made my Christmas, lol. Her little brother getting it and being so grateful made a post even more sweet. I love that her little bro got it. What a sweet kid in a sweet moment. My sister and I aren't far apart in age, but one time I made her cry on my birthday because I got her a gift. She never does anything for herself. She's so selfless and generous. Everything she does is for someone else. And it was something I knew she'd wanted for a long time. She opened it, went, "Why are you giving me a present on your birthday?" And I said I just wanted her to have it. She's not a sappy person, but she cried. Haha. It's the best feeling surprising someone who's actually grateful and deserves it. I love how they played games together. So glad OP had her family to celebrate with and support her after leaving that loser. Gave it to a little man in your life that matters. Someone who is definitely gonna be there for you. You must have been so happy watching him open this. Yep, I was really happy. Love to see this update. All day Reddit has been filled with sad posts of people's families screwing them over today in Christmas. It's nice to see a happy update like this. I have been reading some of it which literally shocked me, but when I think about it, I would have been one of them if I didn't find out about my ex's cheating. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my female 25 boyfriend male 30 he isn't welcome to live with me? For context, we have been together approaching 4 years but have always lived separate. I live in my home with my daughter and he lives with his parents. He stays with me the majority of the time and has done for years with no financial contribution. Around 18 months ago, I bought a new larger property solo, which was very much a doer-upper and I've invested a lot of time and money in. It is now around 75% complete, with progression weekly. In the time, my boyfriend has constantly made negative comments regarding my home. And in a previous argument, he had told me he didn't know why I was proud of the work I have done to my home, because it isn't finished and you wouldn't celebrate before you won the race. Also, that it is the worst looking property in the street, and that I should be embarrassed at it, and at the pace I'm completing the work. He also often makes comments about how he doesn't like certain things in my home, and that if he had his own home, he would have different. Yesterday, he brought moving in together full-time up in conversation. I mentioned what he had previously said around my home, and he thought I was over those comments. Personally, I think it's best he gets his own home. Maybe when he pays for everything single-handed alongside working full-time, he may have more appreciation and respect for my home. And the fact I have to save for works as they are expensive. So am I the a-hole for not wanting him to move in? Now for the top comments before the mini update. Not the a-hole. I also would dump him. You've been together for 4 years. He's in his 30s. No ring, unless you don't want one. He lives with his parents and then has the audacity to say if I owned a home I'd do it this way? Well, sir, you don't own a home, and you live with your parents. He has the audacity to talk to you like that in your own home that your daughter also lives in. You don't want your daughter thinking that a man talking like that to an independent mother is okay. You're at a point where you need to ask yourself where you want this relationship to go. Because he sounds like a lazy POS. OP should try to read her own post as if it's that of a stranger, and then ask herself whether it sounds like the author is someone who is in a great relationship. Spoiler alert, it does not. I mean, just being here is the OP recognizing things aren't great. Telling them it's not great is just beating a dead horse. Maybe we should focus on telling her that she deserves better. She clearly works hard. She's pretty stable financially. What does she want with a 30-year-old that failed to fly the nest? Looking for a surrogate mommy that put out? Not the a-hole. I wouldn't want that negativity at all. You are 25, own your own home, and are successful raising a child. Why surround yourself with someone who tears you down to feel better about his sorry butt? That's technically living at home with parents, but is, in reality, living off your good graces. If you'd like, post before and after pictures of what you've done so we can cheer you on. Please think about the message you're sending to your daughter regarding how she should allow herself to be treated and talked to. How my daughter views my relationships is constantly in the back of my mind. I never want to see her, and hope she never does, settle for less. Thankfully, none of these comments have been said in front of her. Normally when she's at school, her dad's are asleep. Regarding the works done, I've been trying to think of the top of my head. I've had a full electrical rewire, new heating system, new bathroom, new kitchen, new porch extension, new floorboards, new flooring, full replaster, fully redecorated. A lot of disruptive work to say the least. He's so jealous of you. Do not let him live with you. Edit/mini update. I'd like to thank each and every one of you who took your time to comment and wish you all a happy new year. I really didn't expect my post to receive so much traction. I've tried to read through nearly every comment, and a lot of you references to jealousy. Being a hater and reaping the rewards of my hard work ring true, unfortunately. It is insane to get more support from strangers and for people I don't know to be happy for me. I've had a lot of questions around what is the goal if it's not to live together. The goal for me was always to live together, but I cannot allow someone with zero respect or appreciation to be here. It is my daughter's space too, and all of the work, sleepless nights, and stress that I've gone into this property is all for her. I have also been moved out of my parents for 5 years into my own space, so giving that up is a massive deal. He doesn't have any children, so not sure he gets it. For everyone stating they would love their own home, they would love to do all the work. It is possible, and I believe in every single one of you. As for my boyfriend, he has not reached out since I mentioned he needs to do it alone to appreciate the work. Not even to wish me a happy new year, but who needs him? I've got this. Last story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend after he gave me a crappy Christmas present? I, female 28, broke up with my boyfriend, male 38, on Christmas Day after we exchanged gifts. I have a lot going on. I'm moving houses, and I'm dealing with a new job position that has me feeling that I have a lot to catch up to from the past director. I set my alarm very early in the morning last week and took the time to buy him and his daughter, female 16, presents that they could enjoy. To be fair, there was an income gap between us, but even a pair of affordable earrings could have made me feel happy. Because the house is a mess, I even closed off the living room with curtains so that the stack of boxes and things wouldn't make the Christmas decorations look ugly. I made sure the tree looked nice, I bought the food that he likes, and I made myself pretty for him. He arrived, and the first thing he did was to make fun of my makeup. He also made fun of my Santa hat. He laughed like I'm some ridiculous cartoon. We ate and talked, and I gave him my presents, AirPods, which I loved to the point of posting on Instagram. His daughter got her present, Hot Topic stuff, and I was very glad that she loved it. He took her back to her mom's house and didn't get back in an hour like I said. That's their Christmas arrangement. We were supposed to spend time together, but he came back about 3 hours later because his mother had visitors and he wanted to catch up. He sat watching TV and gave me zero affection. He gave me his present, which, to be honest, I would have preferred not to get anything. I'm not a drinker, but he got me a small wine bottle that I've seen marked at $3 to $5 at a 7-Eleven. I know it wasn't at my best because he said my face changed. He has a job. He could have gotten something actually thinking of me. I felt horrible when he said he would have given me an IOU and that the rest of my present was in his pants. I ignorantly thought it was some game. Maybe he hid a small gift inside his pants? Nope. I was supposed to take his boy parts as a gift. I was furious. It was cheap, and while I'm very sexual, it wasn't sexy. It felt vulgar. I asked him to leave and thanked him for giving me the worst Christmas and took back my present. I cried when he left, and when he texted me if I was okay, I broke up with him and blocked him. His siblings have been trying to reach me, but I've blocked them all. One of them accused me of being materialistic and shallow, and also said that not everyone has a fancy job and that I'm unfair for expecting a certain level of gifting. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I'm sorry, but he doesn't even like you. He just likes what you do for him. 100%. One day you'll meet someone who never makes you second-guess yourself and your efforts, and you'll wonder why you ever spent time in such a loser. Not the a-hole. I don't even think this is about the gift. It's about his lack of respect for you. He insulted how you looked. He doesn't respect your time. He doesn't care enough to be thoughtful for you. He was vulgar and immature towards you. When people say it's the thought that counts, this is what it means. He put no thought, effort, or consideration into Opie. He got some crap on the way between his exes and OPs. Exactly. I'd take a $10 plant over fancy jewelry any day because anyone that knows me can see I love plants and rarely wear jewelry. Not the a-hole. Sounds like you definitely did the right thing. Just don't let this schlub talk you into taking him back. I tell his mother what his Christmas present was and ask her if she raised him to be this disgusting and disrespectful. That a $3 gift would have been absolutely fine if they'd put any thought into it whatsoever. And that it's bad manners to make someone wait for you on Christmas Day for 3 hours because they can't be bothered to send a text. Throw the whole man away. His mama ain't finished raising him yet. My boyfriend got me a $3 gift. They were Squishmallow earrings in clearance and I love them. It's not about the money. I mean, geez, there's good stuff at gas stations too, if that's the only option. Candy, headphones, cute lighters, Pringles, goldfish, crackers, maybe DVDs and magazines, cup noodles and ice cream. He could have loaded her up with all the stuff needed for a fun junk food-filled retreat. Or maybe picked up an extra phone charger that she needed. Wine is fine if you like wine. Am I the a-hole for leaving my girlfriend stranded in another state for cheating? Went on a vacation with my girlfriend of 5 years down to Tennessee from Michigan on winter break. My girlfriend grew up in Tennessee until her family moved up to Michigan when she was 12. It was a big reason I had a crush on her when we were teens because I thought her accent was very cute. Her and I both go to the same college and we met in middle school when I wouldn't stop bugging her in class. We drove down to Tennessee in my car and we're planning to stay down there from the 2nd to the 7th. We have our classes begin again on the 10th. Anyways, we were having a great time. We visited a bunch of awesome sites in Tennessee, and she showed me the town her family lived in before she moved. We were staying in a hotel on the 5th, and while she was sleeping, I noticed some guy kept Snapchatting her. I was like, who even is this? So I took a photo of her arm saying, yeah, what's up? He replied saying he was thinking of her and asking when she was getting back. I messaged him saying the 10th and asked him what he wanted to do when she gets back. He said he had a few ideas and a winky face. I asked him for revealing photos to make sure he was definitely already doing stuff with her, and he sent them almost immediately, and asked if he'd be seeing hers. I was so livid. I woke her up, freaking the heck out on her. She was shocked and denied it at first, but she eventually admitted they were talking but never hooked up. I told her we were done, and I started crying and freaking out. I told her I was gonna sleep in the car so we wouldn't get kicked out for a noise complaint, and I left the room. When I got in my car, after a good hour of thinking and ignoring her texts and calls, I decided, screw it, I'm going home. I didn't care about my suitcase or clothes. I just started driving home. I blocked my now ex's number and drove through the night. I woke up the next morning to my ex's mom calling me, freaking out about how I left her halfway across the country and how it didn't matter what she did. It's criminal negligence to leave a girl alone in that state. Well, her parents ended up driving all the way down to get her, and now my ex came up to my house today and told me they were going to try to file a criminal case against me and if not that, sue me for damages? I don't think I owed her a drive home. It's my car, my gas, and she cheated on me. Can I get in trouble from this? What I've read, it could be possible if I left her in a dangerous situation, but I left her in a hotel. Now for the top comments. She's an adult in a hotel. There was nothing criminal about you leaving her there. Her family and her are a-holes, and you leaving her lying cheating butt was deserved, not illegal. Don't worry about their empty threats. I'm worried she will embellish and cry domestic violence. Do you think she'd lie to the cops? Because I'm getting the vibe that she would. Talk to an attorney just in case. You left to avoid getting noisy. Wouldn't have occurred to you to hit her. According to Tennessee, this is how they define criminal negligence. Criminal negligence refers to a person who acts with criminal negligence with respect to the circumstances surrounding that person's conduct or the result of that conduct, when the person ought to be aware of a substantial and unjustifiable risk that the circumstances exist or the result will occur. The risk must be of such nature and degree that the failure to perceive it constitutes a gross deviation from the standard of care that an ordinary person would exercise under all the circumstances, as viewed from the accused person's standpoint. Not the a-hole. I would have done the same. Don't want to find out? Don't fool around. I believe this only applies to dependents, such as elderly and children and disabled. Even if it didn't, she was safe in a hotel. All he did was inconvenience her. If she's an adult, you're probably okay, especially since she came home unharmed and you didn't touch her. She did deserve it though. Don't take her back. Even if she isn't an adult, he is okay. He has no legal duty to her. This is just the mom Karen, upset over her cheating daughter. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife she isn't a single mother? Me, 31 male, and my wife, 28 female, have been married 7 years. We have 3 kids, 10, 7, and 4. For the last 6 years, I have been the sole income for our family. I work up to 60 hours a week, sometimes 7 days a week. Despite this, I still come home and do housework, like the cat boxes and cleaning the bathroom. My wife, on the other hand, does the dishes maybe once every other week and is supposed to be homeschooling the kids. I say she is supposed to be because I work second shift, so I leave at 4 p.m. and get home around 2 a.m. When I wake up at noon, she is always in bed next to me and the kids are playing the Switch in the next room. She says she does the schooling between 8 to 11 because she read that kids only need 3 hours when you're homeschooling, and she also doesn't do Mondays. When I go to work, she's usually at her TV playing video games, and the kids are still on the Switch. Anyway, I confronted her about the homeschooling and she got really angry. She said how dare I question her parenting, since I'm never home and she's basically a single mother. This isn't the first time she's called herself a single mom, as I've heard her say it in front of my parents and her mom. I told her she wasn't a single mom. I spend every moment I'm not at work or sleeping with them, and I work hard to provide because we are still financially struggling. She was going to get a job after the kids were all in school, but then decided to homeschool. I told her calling herself a single mom is insulting to mothers who are working and doing everything completely on their own. Well, now she's not talking to me and asked me if I wanted a divorce, as she always does when we have an argument. Am I the a-hole, or am I right to tell to stop calling herself a single mom? Not the a-hole, but you need to get the kids tested and see what their education level is. Then put them in public or private school, have your wife get a job, and then both of you get some marriage counseling. Divorce should never be used as a threat unless they are prepared to follow through. Yes, get your kids into school. You're doing them a social and academic disservice by letting this go on. I'd say yes to the divorce too. Not the a-hole, but honestly, you need to help your kids. Never mind conflict between you and your wife. Your kids' future depends on them getting proper schooling, and they aren't getting that at home. This is educational neglect, and you can get in real trouble for it. Please demand immediate change for the sake of your children. You could start by just having the kids evaluated. This could save you a lot of arguments. If their scores come back and they're behind in their education, you have factual evidence that they need to go to school. If their scores come back and they aren't behind, you can focus your discussion on other problems. As an actual single mother, this crap really makes me mad. Not only am I the only parent, I'm also the only one financially supporting my son and myself. Your wife basically has a cakewalk. Not the a-hole. Put the kids in school/daycare and send her on her merry way to find a job. Even if it only pays for the little one's daycare, at least he'll certainly be learning something each day. Yep, I want to puke every time I hear a married mom complain that she's basically a single mom since her husband is at work all the time. I can't believe how many people will actually say this stuff out loud and have no idea how entitled they are. So they think single moms have magic money showing up in the account to afford their lifestyle? Sure, there are those lucky few that do get a good amount of child support and or have retired parents that they live with, so they don't have all the bills on their back, and they have free childcare at home. But for so many of us, we have to be the breadwinner and at-home parent as much as possible. I only got child support in a blue moon when I'd get a check garnished here or there. Had to work 60 to 80 hours a week to maintain a household entirely on my own income, and still make it to all the sports game, performances, parent-teacher meetings, and be around as much as possible for general parenting and nurturing. Basically had to cut out sleep and any personal time, hobbies, friends in order to achieve this. Meanwhile, single married moms complaining that they missed a coffee date this week with a friend because the other parent who financially supports them was busy, financially supporting them. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that I will no longer participate in family vacations if his ex is present? Here's the background. While on study abroad, my husband Robert got his foreign girlfriend Elizabeth pregnant. Their relationship was rocky and they've been broken up since Tim was about 1. I met Robert when their son Tim was 3 years old. Robert and I have been together 13 years. When I met Robert, he was upfront that Tim always comes first, and unfortunately is a package deal with Elizabeth until Tim is old enough for solo international travel. This was unfortunate because at that time Robert and Elizabeth hated each other. My parents-in-law have always paid for plane tickets for Elizabeth and Tim to visit. Elizabeth and Tim usually visit for 2 to 3 weeks every year. Robert always requested my presence for these visits to build a relationship with Tim and, at least the first few years, for moral support dealing with Elizabeth. Elizabeth has mostly been nice to me, although it's very superficial. We are not friends. She's fine with the in-laws because they're very nice people who just want a relationship with their grandson and would never jeopardize that access. Robert and Elizabeth's relationship gradually improved, and by the time Tim was 7, they were in friendly terms. Being required to spend 2 to 3 weeks every year staying in the same house as my husband's ex has always been at minimum uncomfortable for me, at times extremely difficult and painful. but I tolerated it without complaint, without fully expressing how hard it was, because I've felt that my main job here is to support Robert. I've been holding out for the goalpost Robert identified early on, that when Tim is old enough to travel alone, presumably Elizabeth will no longer come with. Well, that time has arrived. Tim is 16, traveled alone to visit last summer, and it was awesome. However, Elizabeth said she wants to come visit again this year, and continue doing so every other year, no end date stated. My parents-in-law will never stop paying for plane tickets, and never suggest Elizabeth not come. In fact, 2 years ago, prior to Tim's first solo trip, they assured Elizabeth that she is always welcome even after Tim is an adult, that she is family too. Statements/events like that have amounted to death by 1,000 cuts, in which have been experiencing serious depression surrounding Elizabeth's visits. I feel like that goalpost I was holding out for has vanished entirely. So, I told Robert that I will no longer be present for the full family vacations when Elizabeth comes. I will hang out for 1 or 2 weekends only. He knows I'm fully on board with vacations that do not include Elizabeth though. He is hurt, says my lack of presence shows everyone, including Tim, that I don't care. I say that a stepmother cannot form a relationship with a stepchild when the mother is present anyway, and these visits are causing me extreme emotional distress, so it's time I take care of myself, because no one else is considering my emotions here. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Where is she staying when she comes? With your in-laws? I just want to make sure you understand correctly. Instead of having your stepson come to visit and stay with you and your husband in your home, your in-laws hijack the trip by paying, which then forces you and your husband to go stay at his parents' house for 2 to 3 weeks in order to see his kid? Does your husband have any legal custody and does he pay child support? I feel like the child should be coming to visit and stay with you in your home at this point, but husband should be paying and arranging. Why are the grandparents doing this? This is a messed up custody situation, and it sounds like it is due to your husband relinquishing his parental control to his parents. Sounds like he's the a-hole. It's combined where they stay. The in-laws have a big house, so they host for a couple weeks, which Elizabeth prefers because that area feels more like home to her as she spent the summer there. Then Elizabeth and Tim come stay at our home for a week. The grandparents pay for the trip because they can afford it, are generous people. And if they didn't buy the tickets, Elizabeth could never afford to visit, and thus Tim. Thus, they would have no relationship with their grandson. My husband would not be able to afford paying for both Elizabeth and Tim to visit. At this point, however, we could buy Tim's ticket, which I would be fine with. There's no possibility for legal custody given the 2 different countries. My husband has sent her money every month since Tim was born though. Would your husband be willing to pay for a ticket for just him? If so, then plan his next trip, without Elizabeth, in advance, and have your husband tell his parents that you two are hosting Tim this time. If they're truly kind and generous people, then they will accept that their son wants to be in charge of his relationship with his son now. If they are secretly people who like to be in control and or trying to get their son and ex back together, then they will show their true colors. If your in-laws insist on hosting a second visit for Tim, then let them do that. But that's their vacation, and you don't need to be part of it. And Elizabeth can stay with them. Stop hosting her in your house. Not a-hole. He laid out the boundaries on this at the very beginning and you abided by it. Everyone has a limit, and if you've reached yours, then you've reached it. You've respected everyone's feelings, and now they need to respect yours. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife if she converts to Islam, I'm divorcing her? Been married 4 years and together for 7. Love my wife with all my heart. We started dating back in high school and have been inseparable since. Back when we were first started dating, she was a Christian. I am an atheist and not super thrilled about religion in general. Well, she ended up falling out of Christianity after a couple years of dating and has gone with the agnostic label since. The last handful of months, though, she seemed to be interested in Islam. She'd watch YouTube videos about it, and I noticed she had a Quran app on her phone. I asked her what's going on, and she said she's been feeling a call to be a Muslim. I asked her how and why, and she said she saw some videos of a street preacher, and it made her look into it, and now says it connects to her more than Christianity did. She's a type who goes through a lot of phases though, so I assumed it was just a phase and short-term interest. Well, the other day, she came up to me and said she wanted to get a prayer mat and wanted to try wearing a hijab. We live right outside Dearborn, Michigan, which is one of the largest hubs of Muslims outside the Middle East. She asked if I'd want to go with her to pick them up, or if I'd be okay with these things. I told her that I am not comfortable with it, and I would probably want to separate if she started wearing a hijab especially. She got pretty sad I said that and asked why, and I told her I am not interested in being with someone who is religious, especially not someone who is visibly religious to the point they won't show their hair. She said she understands why I might not like it, but threatening to divorce over it means I don't love her. I do love her, but I'm not willing to become part of the Muslim community, or to be with a woman who wears a hijab, or someone who would have to start eating halal and stop and pray multiple times a day. Christianity was okay because she wasn't overtly religious and was already wading in it by the time we started dating. She says she doesn't know what she wants to pursue, but is really upset that I'd leave her if she chose to fully convert to Islam. Not the a-hole. If she changes what the relationship is about, then the relationship has changed and there are consequences for that. If this isn't something you're interested in dealing with, then so be it. It doesn't mean that she's the a-hole either, since she can do whatever she wants with her life. But if that's incompatible with what you want to do with your life, then it makes you two non-viable as a couple. Not the a-hole. Changing your belief system is a big deal. Not the a-hole. People get divorced for all kinds of reasons. If she changes from the person you married to a different person, you don't have to stay married. If she converts to Islam, she'd probably be happier married to a Muslim anyway. If she converts and OP doesn't, they're automatically divorced according to Islam. The tenets of her new religion nullify any marriage between a Muslim and a non-Muslim, or a non-practicing whatevers. Not the a-hole. She is making a radical change in her life which will affect you. If she's going to full hijab right from the start, she will probably get into all the other things too. No alcohol, no pork, no talking with other males, bringing up children as Muslims, etc. This is big, and you absolutely have the right to say no. I speak as a Christian, but if I became fundamentalist, I could not complain if my wife refused to go along with it. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter about the real reason for my divorce with her mother? I left my ex-wife after 10 years of dead bedroom. I left as soon as my youngest was 18, and I didn't hide my happiness while doing it. I threw a ditch to be party, and I wake up every day since then with a smile on my face. My kids were not thrilled at this and stopped talking to me. I decided not to make amends with them or share my side of the story because I have done my part. I was there till they went to college. If they need me, all they have to do is ask. But I am 46, and I plan to fill my life with as much joy and happiness as I can. I just don't have enough time left to try to convince my kids to not hate me. I asked for divorce 1 year ago, and 2 days later, I met a woman online. My plan was to remain casual, but that didn't pan out as I planned, because this woman became my girlfriend pretty fast. Apparently, my ex has been feeding lies in my kids' minds, that I left her for my girlfriend, and I was already cheating on her. My daughter, who is the oldest, started messaging my girlfriend in IG, saying bad things to her, how she is a homewrecker. I asked my daughter to meet me and talk to me directly instead of harassing my girlfriend. I bought her dinner and told her that I never cheated on her mother, which honestly I regret. I should have cheated on her. I wasted my time suffering. I told her about that bedroom and how she didn't put effort in our relationship. She is 22, so I think she can handle it. She asked me why did I leave her mother before, and I told her that I had this notion that I should ride it out until kids are 18. I thought that was the right thing to do, but I'm not sure anymore. But I do know is that I don't want to think about it. I want to look forward to my future, and if she wants to hate me, she's free to do so. I seriously do not have any plans to convince her otherwise. I want to spend the rest of my life with people who wants to be with me. I really don't have any plans to convince others to be with me, even if they are my own kids. So if she wants to spend time with me, my doors are always open for her and her brother, but she can't harass the woman who makes me happy. If she has so much problem with her, then it's best that we keep our distance. My daughter asked me to give her proof that I only started dating my girlfriend after separation, and I showed her my messages. It took her about a month to process it, but she eventually apologized to my girlfriend, and we spent time together on New Year's Eve. As my daughter got to know my girlfriend, she understood how cool she is. They're bonding very well. My ex raged when she learned that my daughter spent time with my girlfriend. My daughter told her about what I said and told her that she does not blame me anymore and want to move on. Now my ex is up my behind, sending me nasty messages about how I shouldn't have told our daughter about our intimate life, how I am disgusting, etc., etc. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Lol, pretty sure you have to actually be intimate in order to have an intimate life to talk about. Imagine being that bitter. Exes crossed that OP disclosed the truth, that they had a dead bedroom, but she was happy to lie about OP having an affair. Double standards much? Not the a-hole about setting things straight when your ex lied. But honestly, Your whole attitude is pretty a-hole-ish. Dumping your kids because you did your part, as if it didn't even cross your mind that you're a parent for life, because you love your kids and want to watch them turn into thriving adults, celebrate their successes, and help them out when life gets rough. That kind of thing. I have an ex too, I get it. But that whole ditch to be language, I hope you spoke in a respectful manner in front of your children. She is their mother. His comment about there not being enough time left in his life to mend broken relationships with his kids. Bro could live to 90 easily. He's only halfway through his life and ready to live the rest of his life without family relationships because his ex didn't want to sleep with him. Ridiculous and pathetic doesn't even begin to cover this man as a father. I threw a ditch-to-be party, and you wonder why your kids were mad at you. Maybe your ex is annoying AF, but you don't seem to be 100% all there either. I get what you were saying, I really do. But I think I deserve to throw a ditch-to-be party. I understand why my kids were mad at me. I uprooted their family, but I was not gonna live with that woman any more than I had to. And I am damn well gonna celebrate leaving her for every day of my life. You can't seem to grasp the point. Ditch-to-be, the mother of your children. You have zero respect for their mother and it shows. You should have left years ago because your kids seem to have believed you had a decent relationship with your mom. You lied to them. Your job doesn't stop at 18 for Pete's sake. You're an a-hole, and so is your wife for spreading lies. You're poor kids. Ditch-to-be, the mother of your children. I don't care. She was not a good wife. She does not deserve any kind of grace from me. I don't respect her, and I don't need to. She could have put in effort, but she chose not to. Now she's playing victim. She's pathetic. Next story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend, 27 female, over her younger sister, 24 female? I need some outside perspective on the situation. I broke up with my girlfriend 5 days ago due to her sister's behavior. Me and my ex have been dating for the last 2 years, and during this time, her sister has come on to me multiple times. I'm not completely sure about the number of times, but it was almost every time I saw her. I've told the sister multiple times to leave me alone and to stop her behavior, as I don't do the cheating thing, but that did nothing. I've spoken to my ex about it multiple times. She even caught her sister in the act of trying to lock me in a room with herself. Nothing changed. I have spoken to their parents about it and that the behavior of the youngest daughter is unacceptable. And again, nothing happened. I am not going to lie and say the sister was ugly. No, she's actually really beautiful, but I am 100% sure I have not led her on or anything. Even when I greeted her, I gave her a side hug every single time. I have never been in a room alone with her or anything. I just kept my distance from her at all costs. I don't have her on Instagram, Facebook. I don't even have her cell phone number. We have never shared a text or phone call. Her family even gave me a stupid nickname, the puppy, because I follow my girlfriend around everywhere when we are over at their house. The only reason I follow her is because her sister's behavior seemed to stop when she's around. I have told her that I will stop going over to her parents' house because that is where the problems are, and I want no part of it. She didn't like that idea and sulked around the house for weeks because I didn't want to go with her. No point in time did I tell her she can't go. I just said I wasn't going with her. I relented 5 days ago and went over. We had too much to drink and slept over at the parents' house that night. The morning I woke up with the sister completely naked in bed next to me. I stormed out the door and down to the kitchen and told her we are done in front of her parents. She was silent for what seemed like minutes and started to break down asking why. All I said was go look in that room, and I stormed out of the house and got in my car. It took less than 2 minutes, then the calls started to come in, not just from her, but her parents as well. I didn't answer any of the calls. When I got home 40 minutes later, I had 108 missed calls from her and her parents and 36 messages, 2 from her parents. The messages from her parents just apologized to me, saying they thought I was joking about the sister every time I brought it up, and they didn't believe me. All I got from my now ex was sorry and she will handle it and it will never happen again. I shouldn't leave. We can work through this. I'm just done. She has even gotten my family involved in our friend. 90% of everyone is on her side, saying I'm overreacting and I'm the a-hole for dumping her. That we can sort this out. I sent her a message that she has until Sunday to get her things out of my house. I'm just done. Surprisingly, she has not sugar-coated anything and explained everything correctly to everyone. But I'm still in the wrong for leaving her. Her parents in their messages are angry at me for hurting their daughter. My family's angry because they love her. Our friends are angry because I refuse to take her back and saying I'm overreacting. 2 years of this crap and I'm overreacting. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If the genders were reversed, that would be looked at like a crime. You told everyone you could and tried to avoid it. Anyone outside of her and her parents being salty is an a-hole too. I agree. What is messing with my mind a bit is that 10% of people on my side are all men. All the female friends and the ones in my family are saying I'm taking it too far by breaking up. That is the reason for my post. Every female I have in my life is saying I'm the a-hole. Well, I'm female, and I think she was absolutely harassing you. And getting into bed with you naked? Absolutely trash behavior when she knows you have a girlfriend. The fact it's her sister makes it worse. You told everyone multiple times it bothered you and nothing was done. She doesn't get to cry because she didn't consider your feelings. I honestly can't believe anyone is on her side if she told them exactly what happened. Seems you need better quality friends. Exactly. How is anyone okay with this behavior? If Opie did this behavior straight to jail, he'd be labeled a creep, and this would be assault/harassment. Both of those things would be true. The fact that everyone, but especially her immediate family and her sister, is nonchalant about it is alarming. Opie needs better friends. Not the a-hole. You try to work it out for years. Undoubtedly, you aren't taken seriously by her or her family until a naked girl is found in your bed. Good riddance. I personally don't know you, but I'm a woman and totally agree with you cutting contact. I'm not sure what your family and female friends are thinking. If your girlfriend or her parents had walked in while you were still asleep, it would be an entirely different ballgame. You would have been accused of who knows what. Crap, now I'm actually scared. That has not even crossed my mind at all. They haven't hit you with anything, so undoubtedly they know you didn't touch the sister. I'm just saying if they had walked in while you were asleep, things could have been different. The way you reacted shows them you're a stand-up guy and was telling the truth all this time. I'm glad you got out of that situation. Thank you for the nice words, but a little too late to start believing me. At her parent, she acted like that in front of them. The only time she stopped was when my ex was in the room. Not the a-hole. This girl was sexually harassing you. Think about it this way. If you had a male family member do all this to her and get into bed naked with her, she would have called the cops. The sister is a predator. Save the messages and go to the cops. They probably won't do anything, but you can start a paper trail on this woman. If you have a lawyer or can afford one, get a lawyer to send a well-crafted note to both the sister and the rest of that family to leave you alone. They're a bunch of enablers. I'm so angry for you. I haven't thought of going to the police, but we'll have a chat with my lawyer and discuss possible actions. Last story. Am I the a-hole for putting my ex and his sister on blast for being hobosexuals? I, female 26, just broke up with my boyfriend over our short road trip. Initially, my plan was to spend 3 days doing my modest version of Eat, Pray, Love all by myself in a 4 to 5 hour distance from home ratio. I'd been saving up to stay in 3 different accommodations. No Airbnb for me, just hotel rooms and exploring cities that I'd never been to, and visiting my favorite town, which is 1 hour away. By the time I was ready for my trip, to celebrate a career milestone, I already was in a relationship with Mac, male 34. He insisted on coming along, and this created friction. I gave in to his demands and we agreed on splitting costs. I would pay for the hotel rooms, and he would drive us and cover gas costs plus half the meal costs. The first hotel was really nice. I booked a suite with perks and a lovely view. The rest of the accommodations were average, between a low-cost bedroom and guest house. I hated the first hotel experience. Mac asked me if we could meet with his childhood friend. It was very short notice, but I wasn't against meeting the guy and his wife. I learned during our meet and greet that Mac had invited them days in advance but neglected to tell me. I let it slide because I honestly thought maybe there was a misunderstanding. I didn't enjoy meeting his friends. They didn't do anything in particular to offend me or anything. It's just that we were supposed to be enjoying a date, and his friends were there, and I felt invaded and out of place. It felt like an outsider because I couldn't really contribute to their conversations. They started drinking, and I refused to charge it to our room, and Mac's face of anger made me feel horrible. Also, when he floated the idea about bringing his friends, I suggested we could meet the next day at the next town, but he insisted that it had to be that night at that hotel. His friends don't strike me as bad people, but I felt Mac made a unilateral decision and I got bumped. He promised it would just be dinner, but I finally went to sleep at midnight and he was smiling and super happy to be with his friends and allowed me to go to our room by myself. He never showed up, despite telling me that he would join me in a few minutes. I called him past 2 a.m. and he said that he was out of the hotel because they had the munchies. I exploded on him and told him to not bother coming back, and that I would have all his belongings handed over to him at the front desk. I couldn't sleep because I was hurt and angry and checked out really early in the morning. He called me names and said that I don't appreciate the meaning of lifelong friendships and that this is why I'm a loner, and that he was humiliated in front of his friends. I said not to worry about it and rented a car and blocked him everywhere and removed the in a relationship tag from my social media. His sister tagged me in her social media rant about people who think they are better than everyone else, and tried to put me on blast by describing almost the same exact situation at the hotel in her cryptic blabbing. I uploaded receipts in one of his angry texts, accusing me of being controlling because I refused to charge their drinks to the hotel room at my expense, since he was gonna pay it back. I said I will never allow hobosexuals into my life again, since I just had a very ungrateful experience. His sister deleted the post, but my best friend says that while she knows I'm right, maybe I was cruel because now this will chase him for a long time. She may be right, since I have an otherwise stable and promising future, and maybe it came across as poverty shaming. Not my intention, I just wanted to set the record straight. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Absolutely not the a-hole. Anyone saying she sucks for having compromised and tried a new boyfriend out on a vacation are missing the point. That's what dating is for, to see if you are compatible. So she compromised, realized he was too selfish/immature for her, and ended it. Shouldn't have agreed to pay all housing and half of food. That was the red flag. Trip shouldn't have happened. But yeah, I do feel for OP. Sounds like someone who is trying to see the best in people. Shouldn't have allowed him to come in the first place. This was supposed to be her Zen vacation, and it tagged along because one of her plans was in his friend's hometown. The fact he made plans before she said he could come is ballsy. Sorry he ruined your trip. At least you are rid of him. Not the a-hole. I have to give OP props for not waiting until the next stop to see what further BS he was going to pull. He got 3 strikes. 1. Unilaterally invited strangers to her, to join them. 2. Tried to charge the drinks to the room. In my opinion, to look like a big shot, with a very real possibility of OP never being repaid. 3. Brings them to dinner, allows OP to go up to the room alone, and then disappears without a text. No, I don't think it reflects poorly that OP was willing to change her plans. Plans were made when she was single. When it rolled around, she was in a new relationship, and a weekend with a new partner is a pretty excellent way to see if you are compatible with someone. Compromising on this is a hallmark of maturity and part of being with someone. While it imploded on her, the boyfriend did her a great service of showing that there's a reason why he was still single at 34, dating a woman a decade younger. He clearly still hasn't gotten his act together. Good riddance, OP. Hope the rest of the trip made up for the terrible start. In my opinion, his first strike was forcing his way into her trip that she had planned on her own. That was already red flag to me. Asking would be fine, but insisting and being pushy is too much.